So, hello, and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now, I'm not sitting in my normal spot on my settee here because Doggo is taking up the whole settee. So, um, today we're doing a Doctor Who video. Yeah, it's my first TV series video. I was originally going to upload this yesterday or the day before, whatever, but the Infinity War trailer dropped. So, of course, I'm going to talk about that. But anyway, here comes the video which I was planning to upload yesterday or the day before. I don't know when this video is going to go up. It'll go up some point on the weekend. So yeah, my top 10 Doctor Who episodes of the modern series. So this is from Christopher Eccleston's first season all the way through to Peter Capaldi's 10th season, because that's all we got at the minute. If you're watching in the future, when Jodie Whittaker has her first season, this is why none of her episodes are here, because I am not a time traveller. But what I'm going to do is, before I get on with the list itself, I am going to do some honourable mentions, because these episodes I really wanted to include all of these in my top 10, but obviously there's only 10 spots, and it's 10 stories, so I count double parts and triple parts as one. So going through from the first season all the way to the 10th season, these are the episodes which I did want to include as well. The Unquiet Dead, which was the third episode of the first season, which is the one with the ghosts. Father's Day from season 1 as well. The Empty Child / The Doctor Dances, which was, I believe, Stephen Moffat's first episode. Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, which was Christopher Eccleston's last, the season 1 finale. From season 2, I had Tooth and Claw, which is a really interesting one, because I don't see many people talk about that. Queen Elizabeth, and it's got the werewolf in. Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel, which I still think is the best Cyberman episode modern Doctor Who has had. The Impossible Planet and the Saintant Pit, which I think is also an amazing double-parter. From season 3, I had Smith and Jones, which I thought was a great opening episode, and I loved the Jadoon. And then it's on to series 4, where I had Midnight, which was a fantastically well written and acted episode. And then from the specials, I have The Waters of Mars, which I also thought was just creepy and just awesome. And then from series 5, I have Amy's Choice, which is fantastic. Of course, Tom, I forget his second name, but the short guy who plays the villain in it, is awesome in it. The Day of the Doctor, the 50th. Yes, I know, it's not in my top 10. I'm not going to put it in my top 10 just because it's the 50th episode and David and Matt are together. Because I know a lot of people do put it in there, and I do think it's pretty biasly put into top 10 lists. It's a very good episode, but I don't think it's one of the very best. But I still think it's great, so I had to chuck it in there. And then all the way up to series 9 now, where we have Under the Lake and Before the Flood, which again, kind of like Tooth and Claw, don't really see many people talk about that double-parter, but I personally really like it. And then all the way through to the series 10 finale with World Through Time and The Doctor Falls, which I also thought was really good. So yeah, they're all my runner-up episodes, which I really enjoyed. But now on to my actual top 10. So we're going to go from 10 all the way through to number 1. So coming in at number 10 is an episode from series 5. And it is Vincent and the Doctor. So this was one of the later episodes. I believe it was the last one before the finale, the double-part finale. And it was fantastic. It was a really good episode because not only was the acting superb in it, when Vincent actually met Bill Nighy's character at the end of the episode, it was so emotional. And there was some humour chucked in there as well, which was really cool. The story to it was fantastic. And the only thing I wasn't a big fan of was the monster in it. I'm going to shut my door as well, because my bird... I apologise, I'm not doing no editing on this channel, because this channel's meant to be an easy channel for me, unlike my other one. So yeah, I'm not going to edit me closing the door out, sorry. But yeah, it was really good, of course, Bill Nighy in it. Fantastic actor. So that was a really, really good episode. And then we're going to go all the way to Series 2, which is one of David Tennant's... This is David Tennant's weakest series, I think, so it's kind of hard to pull great episodes out this season, but there are a couple great episodes in this season. One of which is The Girl in the Fireplace, a Stephen Moffat episode, which is, once again, a fantastic episode. The Clockwork Men in it are so cool. Not only their design, but just their intentions, what they're building the ship out of, which I'm not going to spoil it too much, but it is really cool. Also, we have Mickey in this episode. Mickey was Still is my favourite Doctor companion's boyfriend, you know, because we have Martha didn't really have a boyfriend. We had Rory, and then we had the guy in Series A, Mr. Pink, who I hated. Mickey's still my favourite of the second companions. And he was great in it. The story to it was fantastic. The CG was surprisingly pretty good, other than when the Doctor jumped through the mirror on the horse. But yeah, very clever episode. Very, very clever episode. And then we're going to an episode from Series 9, which is one of Peter Capaldi's seasons. And I'm going with Heaven Sent, which is the second to last episode. Technically, it is part of a triple-parter story. The part before is the one where we lose a companion, and the part after is where they completely trash that story. But I'm not a big fan of the episode that comes before or after it, so I'm looking at this episode purely on its own, because purely on its own, it is a fantastic episode. It's one of the best tension-building Doctor Who episodes, where you are on the edge of your seat the whole time. It's brilliantly acted by Peter Capaldi. He does a fantastic job. The directing in it is great. The cinematography in it is also fantastic. And that's not something that Doctor Who does very well very often, purely because of the budget. It's a really tense episode, and it's really, really well done. Plus, the monster, you don't really get to see it much, but it is very, very cool. So now we're going over to Series 3 of Doctor Who, and my number 7 story is a triple-parter, Utopia, The Sound of Drums, and The Last of the Time Lords. So this is the Master's big introduction to modern Doctor Who, and it's my favourite version of the Master, and I know not many people agree with that in terms of modern Doctor Who. They actually like him more in the Pete Capaldi episode than The End of Time, and then this triple bill last. I actually really like him in this triple bill because I like the fact that the Master's quite insane. It's before Heath Ledger played the Joker as well, so but it really has that kind of insane feel. It's like if the Joker became Prime Minister of the UK, I really feel this is somewhat what he'd be like. And I absolutely love that they went to the end of the universe, technically, in Utopia to find him. Not to find him, but that's where they find him. The second part is my favourite part because they're trying to get to him, and he's nearly at the top of the food chain here, like in terms of positioning in the government, and he's insane, and he's just such a fun character. Then in the third one, it's great because he's almost like a god, an evil god. When Martha's hiding in that building and he's walking down the street, you can hear people saying, "Oh my god, he's here." It's a fantastic episode. It's so well written, perfectly acted. Really good. And then we're actually going to go back to Season 2. And my next favourite episode, this is number 6, is Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Army of Ghosts is only okay. It is a pure tension-building episode. You are sitting there wondering the whole time, okay, where are they going with this? These ghosts aren't really doing much for me. They don't look that great. They're not intimidating at all. But then, of course, at the end, we find out they're all Cybermen, which is fantastic, because Season 2 is a very Cyberman-heavy series. The last Cyberman double-parter was excellent. And then, of course, right at the end, the Daleks rock up, which is fantastic. And in the second part, Doomsday, I'm nicking this from my friend Robert, because he described it like this. He's completely right. It is a nerd orgasm episode. We finally got the Daleks and Cybermen pinned up against one another, and it is breathtakingly brilliant. The banter between them is fantastic. And then, of course, it has a really, really sad, heart-wrenching moment at the end when we have to say goodbye. Not forever, but we do have to say goodbye to a series regular, Billie Piper as Rose. But other than that, the second part, Doomsday especially, is fantastic. Next one up is from Series 4. This is my 5th favourite story from Doctor Who, and this is Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. Now, I'm a big fan of this one. I remember when it came out, I really struggled to watch it because I was so young when it came out. I was hiding behind the settee most of the time. Because you never knew when anyone was going to die. You couldn't see the creatures, and they struck like that. Which was why I really liked it. I found it very intimidating. It was a very tense episode. At any point, anyone could go. The creatures looked awesome because they were literally in the same suits as the good guys, our heroes, our protagonists. Other than occasionally a skeleton would pop up in one of the face glass bits. And it was just so well written. The whole, between what was in the real world and what wasn't, it was just such a well written episode. Very well acted. It was a really, really, really tense episode. And they're the ones which really get me the most. So my fourth favourite is also from Series 4. And it is a triple bill again. Turn Left, The Stolen Earth, and Journey's End. This is one which I'm a bit biased towards, because when I was a kid, when this episode came out, I had the best time ever. I've been waiting so long to see the Daleks again, because we hadn't seen them since the start of Series 3, pretty much. And I was waiting for Rose to come back, but then on top of that, we had all of Torchwood rock up, and I was watching Torchwood at the time. We had Sarah Jane and her son Luke turn up, which I was also watching at the time. We had Martha come back. You know, we had Rose's family. We had the whole crew come back, and it was fantastic to fight off the best Doctor Who villain ever. And to top it off, we had the Supreme Dalek pop up, who had an amazing design. Davros popped up. The Daleks pretty much had a Death Star, and they took over the entire planet. Which, you know, the Daleks are the biggest Doctor Who villain ever. It's amazing that it's taken them this long to do it. But it was fantastic. It was a perfect episode for the Daleks, I think. It was very, very good. Okay, so my third favourite, we're going to go back to Series 3. And that is Blink. In many people's eyes, it is the best. In terms of directing, yes, it is the best. In terms of tension building, it is 100% the best. I mean, there's some really good tension building Doctor episodes, like all of the scary ones, like Heaven Sent's a good one as well. But Blink does it the best. The story is fantastic, and it's weird that this episode gets so much praise, because it's the one without the Doctor and his companion in, really, other than a very small scene. But yeah, it's a great episode. The Weeping Angels were once upon a time one of the all-time best Doctor Who villains. They've definitely been milked now and humiliated a bit, as nearly every classic Doctor Who villain has in the Stephen Moffat years. But yet again, they were once amazing, and in this episode you go back and you get to see them when they were amazing. It's a great story, very well acted. I mean, that episode won loads of awards. It's not hard to tell why it was so loved. And my second favourite episode from Doctor Who, we're going to go to Series 1-4. And that's the double-parter Slovene. I'm only kidding. It's actually the episode that follows that. Dalek. That episode, along with The Stolen Earth and the Season 1 finale, shows what the Daleks should be like. I'm hinting at the Stephen Moffat years. This is where they went wrong with the Daleks. They were so intimidating. This Dalek literally broke out and just went through this building in this episode, slaughtering everyone in its path. As did the Daleks in the finale to this series as well. They just slaughtered everyone. And that is what the Daleks are to me. They are the ultimate Doctor Who villain. There was so much emotion behind it. Christopher Eccleston has the best reaction to the Daleks. I mean, Matt Smith had a great reaction in the third episode of his first season. Even though it wasn't a great episode, he had a cool reaction to the Daleks. David always handled the Daleks really well. But Christopher Eccleston nailed it the best in this season. When he was just shouting at him, saying, "Why don't you just die?" It's fantastic. And you can see the fear in everyone's eyes when this Dalek is coming up to them. And it is such a well-paced, well-directed, well-acted episode. It's fantastic. But my favourite episode of Doctor Who is actually going to go to Series 3 again. And it is Human Nature and the Family of Blood. So yeah, pretty much the Season 3 finale was awesome, because you had that, then Blink, and then the Masters triple bill. So Season 3 really ended amazingly, I think. Human Nature and the Family of Blood is my favourite Doctor Who story, because the story itself is fantastic. I love the idea of the Doctor becoming human. And the Doctor really does nothing in this episode, in this story, of course. It is all about this human version of him, his personality. He doesn't want to believe that, you know, his memories aren't real, and he doesn't want to believe that he's going to have to die to save everyone else. The family of blood as well, there's so much character gone into some of them, especially the son. He was fantastic, great actor. I loved the Scarecrows. They were fantastic. They used to make me laugh. They were great. Martha, you know, Freema Agyeman, I think is her real name. Brilliant acting, just brilliant, absolutely superb. And then, of course, at the end, when the Doctor does finally rock up and, you know, he's messed about their spaceship and he puts his glasses on, and David's acting is amazing. And just the ending, when you see what he does with the family of blood, it is a perfect episode. But anyway, there's my list for my top 10 Doctor Who stories. And some honourable mentions there. Be sure to let me know in the comments what your top 10 Doctor Who episodes are. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I will see you guys next time for another video.